Jen.
Sure thing. No, I've done the same thing with other meetings too myself. It's always a good reminder. Also, please keep yourself muted while other people are speaking, so that we can all hear from each other. Um, and if you have questions, please leave questions until the end of the presentation. Captioning is available by pressing the CC button on the lower bottom of the screen toward the middle, and captions should appear. And lastly, as all we have been practicing, is always be respectful of one another. Tonight's agenda. Oh, go to the next slide. Yep. Tonight's agenda. We went through welcome and introductions with Rio. I have the pleasure of going over the agenda. We'll then discuss the recent Supreme Court decisions led by Rio. Um, I'll lead a overview of our coalition goals and member reports. Then we'll jump into SUSO, which is Speak Up, Speak Out, the Disability Voter Rights Week, which is DVRW. Rio will lead those conversations along with all of us. And at the end, we'll finish up with me giving an overview of what's coming in the next couple of months. So, and again, there's a little at the bottom as a little reminder. SUSO is for Speak Up, Speak Out, and uh, Disability Voter Rights Week is we'll be using DVRW. I'm ready.
Thanks,
Let's
Jason.
sure.
So before I move forward, Jennifer is going to drop a document into the chat that has all of the links that we'll be referencing for tonight. So instead of kind of overwhelming the chat, that's just a document that we can all reference. If there are folks in the room who use screen readers, I'd love feedback on the formatting that I use because I'm realizing now that I don't think it's accessible for screen readers. So I will convert that to a purely text document as soon as possible after the meeting. Um, Otherwise, yeah, feel free to follow along and then hold on to that document so that you are able to reference the resources that we use. So I wanted to cover in the beginning of this meeting, as I mentioned, the recent Supreme Court rulings. As you know, they're in the middle, or they just ended their summer session, where they're kind of going through a bunch of decisions, talking about cases that have been brought to the court over the past, like, I think the earliest case may have been from 2022, maybe a little bit earlier. So I wanted to mention that while there are some decisions that directly affect the work that we're doing that has, sorry, in relation to voter rights. So there's two decisions about voting by mail and campaign finance limits. But there are lots of decisions that were made that affect us all as a group. So I wanted to name those. There were some decisions that were made regarding birthright citizenship. So if you have not heard, birthright citizenship was upheld. So that just confirms our constitutional right that is found in the 14th Amendment that says that anyone who was born in the United States is an American citizen. As you know, the Trump administration released an executive order that was, I think, signed literally the first day that Donald Trump was in office that tried to nullify birthright citizenship. So we did finally get a decision about that. We'll talk about the voting by mail case, so I won't explain any of that right now. There was also a decision about transgender athletes that I think is really important for those of us who are in this call to be paying attention to. I know many of us in this call are not trans. However, it's important to remember that just like the disabled community, the trans and queer community are um, what I like to call canaries in the coal mine when it comes to the attack on our rights. So because we're such a small community, those of you who are new, I am a trans mask person. So our community is very small, and that's why we're the subject of frequent attacks. So we should be paying attention to what's happening to the disabled community, the trans community, and other marginalized groups because we can see kind of the affront and assault on our rights that are being brought against transgender people. So take a look at the court case that has to do with trans women's participation in athletics. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court did say that states have the right to claim that trans women aren't able to participate in women's sports. So I won't get any deeper into that. I could obviously talk about that forever, but we'll move forward. Well, we'll also talk about the campaign finance law that the National Republican Senatorial Committee brought to the Supreme Court that has very major implications for the upcoming elections. We will talk about, well, I also wanted to mention the presidential firing power case. There was a recent decision regarding gun rights that really solidified the right to bear arms, basically. It really uplifts the Second Amendment. The Federal Reserve governor, it was ruled that Trump is not able to fire Lisa Cook. Correct me if I'm wrong, who is the Federal Reserve governor. So that is uh, uh, ensures that the Federal Reserve is an independent agency still. Privacy laws, there was something that is very significant for all of us who use smartphones. An individual was tracked using his cell phone without his consent, and it was found that this was a violation of Fourth Amendment rights. And then finally, I do really want to bring everyone's attention to the recent ruling about temporary protected status. For those of us who are unfamiliar with TPS, it's a program that does not guarantee permanent status in the United States for immigrants, but it does provide a layer of protection for individuals. It allows them to work, access benefits, stay in this country. So recently, the Supreme Court basically took away TPS protection for 350,000 immigrants in the United States, the majority of whom are Haitian immigrants, alongside a group of Syrian immigrants as well. So there are folks in this call who can talk a lot more about TPS and immigration rights, namely Jay Jin, but I do want to mention that. Okay, so let's get into the discussion about voting and elections. So all of these cases are important, as I mentioned before, and these cases are showing that the federal administration really wants to further consolidate the president's power and destroy checks and balances. So we're really seeing attacks on basically states' rights, independence of elections, things like that. And the two, as I mentioned before, the two cases that were decided were Watson versus the Republican National Committee and the National Republican Senatorial Committee versus the Federal Election Commission. You can notice that the Republican National Committee is, they are uh, arguing on both of these cases. I think that's very indicative of the current status of our federal government. So the first is a decision about voting by mail. It upheld a Mississippi law that allows election officials to count mail-in ballots that are postmarked by election day, but received up to 5 days after it. So what that means is if you are voting by mail and you turn in your vote by mail ballot, and the vote by mail ballot is postmarked by election day, that's basically when when USPS says, yes, we received this piece of mail. So as long as the ballots are postmarked by election day, they can be counted up to 5 days after. So you'll remember that there was an executive order that President Trump released where he tried to basically take voting by mail away completely. This is an upholding of the protection of voting by mail. So that means that we are all still able to submit our ballots. What I will say is that it's even though this upholds a law that protects mail-in voting, we should still be aiming to submit our vote by mail ballots as soon as possible rather than waiting right up to the deadline because we don't know how long the postmarking is going to take. It's been taking longer than usual. So always err on the side of caution and tell your communities to err on the side of caution. As soon as you're able to access a voting by mail ballot, you should go ahead and send it in. The decision was 5-4, and I thought this was very important to note because it shows that the Supreme Court justices were really close to basically leaning the other way. It shows that the Supreme Court is oftentimes catering to kind of the desires of the Trump administration, and I think it's just really important that we're paying attention not just to the decisions, but how close the decisions are that have a major effect on election access in our country. So 18 states and territories have similar laws to Mississippi, and the practice of allowing extra time for a mail-in ballot to be received allows time for people in rural or underdeveloped areas to safely participate in voting, and it also leaves time for delays in mail delivery. And as you all know, the Trump administration has been attempting to really tear down voter rights because of the upcoming election this year. So this is a loss for them, and it is a protection of our right to vote by mail. Before I move on to the next case, do we have any questions, insight? Did I say anything correctly? Anything anyone would like to add? All right.
Okay,
If
I
you
would
have,
say
oh,
he got
go
some
ahead.
courage. I would say it's a big victory for those who have the right to vote because we do have the right to vote, and we should keep that and keep the voting by mail, and that's
Absolutely.
gonna benefit those who can't go to the polling places for early votes or a day of election. I'll vote by mail.
Yeah, absolutely,
Great.
Curtis. This is JJ, and I think I just want to echo again what Rio mentioned earlier about taking advantage of vote by mail if that's your preferred option, is as soon as whether it's through early voting when vote by mail becomes available, but as early as it becomes available, you take advantage of that so that for one you can take care of it early, um, and then but it also ensures that it gets postmarked and processed and to the polling places on without having to deal with the potential saying it's after the due date.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys. I think Elena, you had your hand up
I
first.
did. Thank you. So I wanted to say first, I'm going to echo Selena speaking, that this is obviously truly excellent. That and it's scary that it was so close. But I also
Hmm.
learned a lot by the very balanced way in which you covered all of this information on these past couple of slides. So I appreciate the language for the for folks involved in nonpartisan organizations and um, the ability to keep one's personal feelings out of it and just accurately speak. So I appreciate it, and I will be stealing some of your phrasing choices. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. Yeah, feel free. I'll send the presentation out. Feel free. That's publicly available, so feel free to use whatever from it. Charles.
Yes, so my question is to the voting thing. What can we do for people with disabilities, some individuals that are not able to get out and go and vote or don't have the resources to transport or go and do it. Is there a way that we can bring certain resources to them to be able to do it from home?
Yeah,
If
Yes,
that
absolutely.
Charles.
makes sense.
Go ahead, Jason.
Oh no, yeah, that's exactly the big significance, the importance of this win of upholding the vote by mail. So those individuals that are from our disability community who who cannot go out or have transportation challenges to go out to the polls, voting by mail is their accommodation. You can get a ballot mailed to your residence. They can fill it out, or you can fill it out at your home and mail it back in. And as this ruling upholds, as long as the ballot is mailed back and postmarked by election day, it will be counted within that 4 to 5 day grace period. So
Oh,
yeah, for those of us again who can't go out or have transportation, vote by mail is our accommodation, and it's good that it's upheld.
okay. I was just double checking because I know there's some clients that aren't able to do that, and I want to make sure that they have the resources to be able to still be able to vote and have that resources like stuff mailed to them so they can do that. So I was just making sure.
No, absolutely great. It's a
Yeah.
great follow up.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a good resource about voting by mail on the Illinois State Board of Elections website. It's a really, really good resource. Just in general, that website there's lots of information for folks who speak different languages, for folks who have disabilities. They have like a plainer language version, they have a high contrast version, and a just a text version for folks who use screen readers. So Charles, I can point you towards that information. That way, when you're talking to your clients and your peers, you can kind of give them direct access to the information on how to vote by mail.
I appreciate that.
Sure. All right. Are we ready to move on? Cool. All right, so let's talk about the campaign finance law decision that was made. So this is the National Republican Senatorial Committee versus the Federal Election Commission. And this decision unfortunately overturned limits on how much political parties can spend in coordination with candidates. So just for a little bit of background information, individuals, according to federal law, are only able to give $3,500 directly to federal candidates for their use during their runs for candidacy. So this is why we have what is called super PACs, and this is why people are able to donate directly to the different parties because it's basically like a workaround on being able to donate more money to a candidate's uh, run. So the way that the law formerly worked is that there was a limit on how much money people could donate to the Republican or the Democratic National Party for the party's use in supporting a candidate's run. So, for example, if say someone was running for Senate and an individual wanted to give them more than the $3,500 allowed, the individual can give a donation to the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, and the party can use those funds to support the candidate if they are an official party candidate. So that money could be used by the Democratic or Republican Party to pay for different parts of a campaign. I don't know. I haven't run a political campaign. But there was previously limits on how much an individual could donate to a party for their use for a specific candidate. This ruling overturned that. So now there is no monetary limit. There's no limit on the amount that an individual can donate to one of the parties to be used in support of an individual's candidacy. So basically, this opens the door, unfortunately, for major corporations, billionaires, mega donors to really just pour millions and millions of dollars into races for candidacy that they are invested in. So right now, during the midterm elections, we're seeing, I think the number was like $400 million spent by the throughout the entire United States in support of both parties. And we could just see that number increase. So we could see a lot of corporations being able to essentially buy candidates because they're sending them millions and millions of dollars. So it's a way that we're kind of losing some equity and equality because the Republican Party does fundraise a considerably larger amount than the Democratic Party does. And so we're seeing once again the conservative administration attempt to basically create some sort of way for them to not lose in the midterm and the general elections because they'll be able to pour lots and lots of money into these elections now. So this unfortunately is it's not a great decision. It's really going to affect the way that campaigns are run in the future. We're going to see massive amounts of money being poured into these races from outside interest groups, I think I should say it, like corporations that are interested in having legislation go one way or the other will be able to really buy that. So yeah, it's the claim by the justices was that the limit on the campaign spending was a violation of free speech. They're saying that it's free speech the way that you spend your money, and so having a limit on that is unconstitutional. So yeah, questions about this case? I know maybe not all of us are familiar with the way that campaigns are funded. I definitely
Going through
welcome
here.
any
This is
other
open.
insight.
This is open. Go through there.
Any questions about campaign finance limits? It's okay if not. I know it's a little bit dense, the material. This information is in the document. Elena said she's just disgusted. I do agree with you. This is a really, really unfortunate ruling.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, and this is JJ, this is it's irregardless of putting political like philosophies or parties aside. In the long term, this is not good for for politics or elections in general, because the idea of elections is for all of us citizens, residents with voting rights throughout our country or in our state having equal access to voting and getting equal access to comprehensive, fair information. And the result, the potential uh, challenge of this rule, impact of this ruling is those entities that have lots of money to spend. We have those of us who are on the receiving end of that mass media or those kinds of campaigns have to be more critical of the messages and the information that we process and to make extra effort to make sure that the news services and the channels that we get information is as unbiased and as fair as possible so that we can make the best informed decisions about our candidates. And having floods of money just doesn't just makes that more difficult.
Yeah, really well said. see, we've got some feedback in the chat. Elena says we need less influence on candidates from the ultra wealthy. I completely agree. And ground news is helpful for seeing bias. I have heard of ground news. My understanding is that it's a platform that shows news from different outlets, and it will explain to you whether or not the news leans left or leans right, if it's a neutral source, and other things like that. Is there anyone, Elena, did you want to talk more about it?
Yeah, it just it's an app, and it shows, it gives its own summary that's just editorial of the facts of what happened, and then it shows you have access to any news source you want, but it shows you which ones are showing editorial bias and which ones are being centrist. And um like sometimes you can see too that like um say like the red media is covering a story far more than the blue media, for example. So you can kind of see which way people are trying to be pushed and led, which is nice. And then you could choose to read either side, or you could really just stick with the centrist editorial news sources, and but you get choice, which is nice.
What is the, there's a subscription fee, right?
Yes, I don't, I'm trying to remember what it was. Hold on, I will find out for you. Um, $8.33, I think.
Okay.
Uh,
So for those of us in the room who that's not an inaccessible
yeah.
price, then yeah, I think that's
Oh
definitely the
wait,
way to
so
go.
you can do as little as 83 cents a month right now.
Cool.
Then there's a $3.33 a month, and then the $8.33 a month is the most expansive version.
Great.
So,
Thank you.
yep. Thank you.
Curtis. Curtis.
Yes, you have several media outlets that tend to favor the left and Democratic Party, and you have Fox News and Bureau News favor conservative Republican Party. For example, when the day Obama has his opening, you had all stations had the Obama presidential ceremony. Fox News, no. I'm not getting too deep into it. It just shows you that what direction these news stations are going to.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really important to just be like really on top of where you're getting your news from and to train yourself in media literacy as much as possible. It's a really, really important skill for us all to be able to look at a piece of information and tell whether it's being skewed one way or the other, to have kind of a sense of if there's red flags in the writing or the publication. So yeah, super important right now. Thanks everyone for the suggestions about how to find unbiased media. Okay, so let's move forward so that we have time to lead a discussion. So I'll pass things back over to Jim.
Great, thanks, Rio. So just a recap of some of our coalition goals or REV coalition goals and updates is, our goal for this year is to register at least 50 voters, uh, and keep up the work to increase voter access and to build our community's power of the disability vote. And my question to you all is like, have you all had a chance, or has anyone had the chance to lead an event or an activity around voter registration or voter information?
In the past, I have, not this year though,
Okay.
yet.
What? Oh, please.
They did. I've read the book, but I haven't gone around and asked anyone if they read the book lately. But I would like to work with you and do that because like you said and like everyone has said, and now I'm going to say voting voting is very important when it comes to uh um the next election and uh and I would like to see more people with disabilities on their voting. So that that's my 2 cents.
Great, thanks, Bob. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's like I think opportunities, things that we can think about, or if there are opportunities in over the summer, if there are like in your area, if there are like community or neighborhood festivals or things that pop up that uh, are being planned for over the summer or into the fall, and that you hear about, and you can possibly reach out and just see if there's opportunity to have a Rev Up Illinois table there to share information or to help register voters. Um, and something we'll cover in the next slide is also maybe working with your local community library, public libraries, to see if they have opportunities to set up a table for a couple of hours or something to share information. So just things to keep an eye on of like if you hear about community events or activities and you feel motivated or inspired to do so, to just reach out and just see what possibilities are for getting involved. That's something to think about.
Um, I will um I will do that and if I do find I mean there's always activities to do but I don't know if I don't know if they would like me to just say okay I'm going to do it. Is it okay if I put a table here and one of my organizations come in? So it's usually the kind of events that that I go to are uh, 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 provider events. I don't,
Hmm.
and, and everyone knows Michael, but I don't know if having a voter table would be something that they would want. I can ask, but I don't know if they would like you to bring in outside people. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, no, Bob, and it's like, yeah, it's just a matter of if folks, if you all feel comfortable asking, I mean, there's no harm in asking, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But we can all ask if you're so if you feel motivated to do so, just to find out. But speaking of some opportunities, any other updates around that possible activities?
I have registered those in state operated developmental centers, SODCs,
Excellent.
and in one nursing home in Chicago. When I had sessions on voting there.
Curtis, how many
Oh,
people did you register during that?
It's so many I can't remember. I have to say
Can you
maybe,
can
maybe
you
so
I,
like
find
a
the
hmm?
answer and let me know? Can you find the answer and let me know?
I think maybe up to 40 to 50.
Oh wow. Where
wow,
was
that's
2 years
this?
ago.
Oh, 2 years ago. So we want to focus on things that we're doing this year, that we've
This
done
year,
this year.
none.
Okay. But it's awesome to hear that you were
yeah.
able to register that many people in the past. Can we duplicate that?
I'll try.
can we do it again?
Yeah. I mean, if we can reach out to SODCs or uh, centers this year, we got time. So that's something that we can work on as a group.
Yes, I am in conversation with some folks who lead a self-advocacy group at Ludeman Developmental Center,
Excellent.
just kind of like solidifying that relationship, and was able to connect with the person who leads some programming. So hopefully we'll be able to organize that with them as well.
And actually, an event that I just thought about that if we haven't already talked about them is the Disability Immigration Task Force of Illinois is actually hosting a two-day conference in 2 weeks at
Oh,
UIC. It's the July 15th and 16th at UIC, and I can check with the organizing team if they're going to have table resources and if RevUp can have table space there.
yeah, I love that.
Um, yeah. So I'll follow up and find out.
Okay, thanks, Jason.
So, cool.
Do we
And
want
I
to
think,
go on to the next
yep,
slide?
we go to the next
No,
one.
we want to stay here. Go ahead.
Okay. So just some updates regarding some recent activities is regarding uh, Rio and Curtis were at the accessible Juneteenth celebration this past June 16th at Access Living, sharing information and connecting with a couple of folks to educate and give information about voting access. I was also have opportunity to partner with the Chicago Public Libraries, uh, back to the Yards branch, to lead a voter registration and information event. And regarding increasing voting access, uh, question for the group is, has anyone had an opportunity to reach out to their local Centers for Independent Living or the INSIL, which is the Illinois Network of Centers for Independent Living, about including voter registration in their materials or intake processes? And if
I
not,
can do,
any ideas on how we could do that?
I can do that. I didn't haven't done it because the thing that I've been working on lately, and it is that opinion that the DOJ came out with, and 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 stuff. So that's the thing that I've been focusing on lately. But I can definitely reach out to Exit Living and stuff like that. If and and if I need help, I know that Real will help me. So I'm not worried about it.
Thanks for volunteering me, Bob.
Hey, I like volunteering. Yes.
Thanks.
Is anyone else directly connected to their local SIL who would be willing to work to connect with them and see if they would be interested in doing voter registration as part of intake? Elena?
So I'm not directly connected. I'm sure I know somebody who works there. I'm not a client. But I do know a lot of folks, and I'm happy to reach out to anyone that, I mean, if you have a list and you want me to call, I will call all of them. That's kind of
Sure.
something I like doing. And as far as in the chat, SRA, Jennifer, is a Special Recreation Association. So I'm very close with my local SRA. I do partnership activities with them all the time. And would October be too late to register people to vote?
No, it's not too late.
No.
You can register up until voting.
That's what I
The
Yeah.
thought. I
well,
Yeah.
mean, practically speaking, I have an event that I do with the SRA and the Park District and the Arts Council. Is a special recreation event where we have a bunch of people come to one place. So we have tabling there. It would probably be a really great place to have a voter registration table.
Cool.
Cool. I
That's
can reach
October
out to
10th.
you. Okay. Awesome.
Great. And I guess I'll volunteer myself since I am. I can if I can I sit on the statewide Independent Living Council, and
Oh, okay.
with my work with Silk, uh, there's a we work closely with John and Incil, so I can ask, if we have like as we move through the summer and into the fall, as social media posts or news items or like updates regarding activities or just information about reminders of the importance of our disability community and disability voter rights. Um, all that information, just you can send it my way, and I can send it to Shelly and John over at Silk and Instill, and they can blast it to their listservs, and can also through them can also make sure that all 22 SILs in Illinois get the information.
Awesome. Thanks, JJ.
Mhm.
Jennifer, you have your hand raised.
Yes, I wondered if anybody would be comfortable making calls. Like sometimes maybe you don't know where the sills are near you or something like that. But if anybody is willing to make some calls, but maybe needs some support finding out what the number is or what the email is, go ahead, you can email me. I'll put my email in the chat too, but and we can help you with that. And then if you want, we can show you how we do a search and find those things.
Mhm. And
Just email or put it in the chat. Either way works.
yeah, and through the Illinois network of SIL's website as well as the Silk website, I think there are links on there that to help people find their local SIL.
Cool. Yay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think this is a great idea. Thanks everyone who volunteered themselves, and we'll follow up with those of you who said you'd be interested in reaching out to folks that you know. Yeah, thanks for the suggestions. We have 10 minutes left. I'm
Great.
sorry,
We can
Jajan, to cut
no,
you
that's we can.
off.
I was just gonna say we can move on, and I'll turn it back over to Rio.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for leading that discussion. It was
Mhm.
really great. Thanks, guys. So just our upcoming events. We will be tabling at the Disability Pride Parade here in Chicago. We will also be attending the Every Step of the Way resource fair on Saturday, August 8th. We will be at SUSO from August 31st to September 2nd, Speak Up, Speak Out conference. We will also be participating in Disability Voting Rights Week, September 14th to 18th. If you're interested in joining any of these opportunities, just drop a comment and I will connect with you. We have the Disability Pride Parade. That's our event for this month. We will be there. The parade is from 11 to 2 p.m. The parade itself goes from about 11 to 12. And then afterwards in Daily Plaza, there is music and tabling and things like that. So we'll be there. We'll have a table. The Arc of Illinois is walking in the parade, so there's some opportunities for engagement. So if you're interested in just walking in the parade, Becca, is there like a registration link for that? Sorry.
They can just email me if they're coming.
Okay. Cool.
I'll put
So
my email.
we'll drop, thank you. So Becca's gonna drop her email in the chat. If you want to walk with someone in the parade, you'll get to be with other people with disabilities, some friends and family members. It's really fun. I've walked in the parade twice, and it's a really awesome opportunity. It's like a fun, novel experience to be able to walk through the streets of downtown. And there's always really fun floats. I don't know if you guys have gone, but I always really love the CTA's float because it's like a mini train. But let me not get distracted. Okay. So whoever is planning on walking, send an email to Becca. If you're interested in working at the parade, we have some paid opportunities. So one person per shift from 10 to 11, we'll be setting up our table. I'll probably arrive a little bit later, so I'll probably have like the tent and everything set up by the time you get there, so you can just help with putting some stuff out on the tables. And then from 12 to 1, 1 to 2, we'll just be tabling, so helping people get information about voter registration, about IDs that you need to bring, things like that. And then from 2 to 3, we'll have a tear down. So if you're someone who wants to go to the parade the whole time, and you don't want to work in the middle of the parade, you could always set up or tear down with us. It's $50 per shift. So we did create like a sign up sheet. It's on the links document. You can find, I think it's called like Pride Disability Pride Parade sign up sheet. It's an Excel spreadsheet. You can just drop your information in the spreadsheet. If you just want to like come with us, you're going to be in attendance, but you don't want to work, that's also fine. There's some space for you to sign up as well so that you could get your t-shirt, and you can let me know if you have any like food allergies, because I'm probably going to get some snacks and things to have at our table along with waters because it'll be hot outside. Okay, and then we also have Speak Up, Speak Out. Let's see, we have 5 minutes, so I'll kind of push through. So we can talk about this in our next meeting. We have a voting commercial that's going to be shown. So we'll be reaching out to those of you who said that you're interested in the video project. Remember, we're creating a video about the importance of voting because the election will be coming up shortly after Speak Up, Speak Out in November. So I think we don't have enough time to settle on a date and a time right now. So let's, Jennifer and I will follow up with everyone who drops their interest in the chat. I have all of y'all's emails already, so we'll send an email, we'll find a time, and we'll get started on that this week. This month. That way we have plenty of time to create a commercial. And then also there's some other engagement opportunities. So tabling for voter registration, we'll have a table. We have space for one self-advocate to work with us. So if you want to come and work, we'll have to figure out registration for the event and everything like that. So if you're interested in coming and working, please just let me know early so I can talk that through with folks who are in charge of SUSO. And then we'll also be doing some man on the street interviews for Disability Voter Rights Week. So we'll be going around SUSO just like we did last year, asking people why it's so important to vote. So we'll have an opportunity for y'all to sign up to do man on the street interviews. We'll provide you with a series of questions, and you can go up to folks during the conference or even in your personal time. Say you're at your workspace with other people with disabilities, or you're at your SILA and you want to have a quick conversation with people who you know. Well, we can use all those videos and post them on our social media during Disability Voting Rights Week. We also talked about live streaming office hours. So I'm not sure if we still are interested in this idea, but we thought that we could have like a joint live stream with the Rev Up Illinois account and like someone else on Instagram. I don't know if there's anyone here who's super active on Instagram, but we can lead kind of a joint voter registration, like open office hours where folks are able to ask questions about voting and registration itself, and then we'll have like a link displayed for folks to be able to just register to vote during the live stream. So that's an opportunity. Jajan, last meeting you mentioned an event at UIC.
Oh yes, for Disability Voting Rights Week, we've the Chicagoland Depot and the UIC Disability Cultural Center for the past couple of years have collaborated to host a tabling event at UIC for Disability Voting Rights Week, which we will probably again we'll follow up and make sure that's all set. Probably planned for that.
Okay.
Too.
Cool. Awesome. And then yeah, we'll have the opportunity to do the man on the street interviews as well, where we'll be posting them throughout the week of Disability Voting Rights Week. Okay. I'll pass it back to JJ.
All right, thanks, Rio. So just as we wind down our meeting this week, just want to do reminders for what's coming up. So again, July 15th is our Going Home Coalition educational team meeting. Again, 6 to 7 p.m. On Thursday, July 23rd, from 10 to 11 a.m. is the Going Home Coalition organizing meeting. And August 6th, Thursday, from 6 to 7 is our next monthly Rev Up Illinois member meeting. So please save those dates and register as if you haven't. And yeah, any other thoughts? Otherwise, back to you.
I'm gonna set this up. Do you think that do you think we can get together on Zoom on Monday?
Me or
No,
JJ?
JJ.
I'm sorry, Bob, for to discuss what now?
I wanted to discuss with you about about working with you on the voting thing, but I wanted to set up a Zoom time with you so we could talk about it.
Okay, I'm not sure. I don't have my calendar in front of me, Bob, but I'll follow up via email, and we can figure out a time.
Okay, then email me on Monday and we'll talk.
Okay, yep. I'll email you, and we can find a time to connect.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, anyone else have any final thoughts? Anything they'd like to share? Suggestions, feedback, advice?
I had a question. I put it in the chat, but for like coming to table in Bloomington Normal, would there be any funding available to help cover hotel costs?
That's a question that I would have to discuss with
I
the folks who
figured,
are in
but
charge.
again,
But
the answer is always no unless you ask.
yeah, exactly. I'll talk with Becca and Kim and see if there's anything that we can do, whether or not we can find a way to make that happen. And I'll get back to you, everyone who said that they're interested in possibly looking at SUSO. Any other thoughts, questions, concerns, jokes?
No.
All right. Well, thanks so much, everyone.
Rio,
Yeah.
I
Yes, Jennifer.
I lost power and got kicked out of the
Oh,
meeting.
no.
Can you copy the link to the doc again and post that? Just if
Yes.
anybody wants the links for all the links that we talked about tonight, what Rio's posting in the chat right now, you can get to that. And if you have any challenge with that because of screen reading or anything like that, just email us and we will get you a clean copy. Thanks.
Jennifer just emailed that to me.
Bob, I'll send it to you when we send out the notes, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you everyone for your dedication, your passion, and for your willingness to talk about really difficult subjects. I know we're all really feeling the effects of the attacks on our community right now. So I just encourage you all to take time for yourself, make sure that you're prioritizing rest and connection with community. And thank you so much for making the time to be here in community with us as we're working to protect voting rights for people with disabilities.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Stay
thank you,
cool.
Jaden.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.